Hello, everybody. Welcome. We've got Donna Salemink today as a special guest on the
Hi,
podcast.
everybody.
Yay! Hey, it is uh, June 7th, 2024, and yeah, welcome. Thanks,
Welcome, welcome.
thanks for hopping on, Donna.
Thanks for having me, Shauna. It was so fun to meet you last weekend for Talk to the Entities, get to meet you in person and just like get to meet you and hang out at all. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And you definitely changed my life.
You too changed my life. The everything about last weekend in Vancouver for Talk to the Entities really was life changing for me. Every moment there. So
hmm It was nice because I didn't think that the time would be intense. Like I was like, oh, it'll be easy, a little, talk to the entities course and then I kind of say like we almost got flung off the face of the earth.
yeah. Yeet, we got flung
And then it
into possibilities and magic and miracles.
yeah. And then it was because it was so intense, it was really nice because when when we were in class, you were just so kind and such an invite and you were like, hey, like sit beside me. And I was like, oh wow, like that never happens.
Oh, yeah. It's really it was similar for me too because Vancouver, it just seems like it's just America. It's just right across the border and it's you just like, well, I'm just going to Vancouver and I've done Talk to the Entities before and this one like really cleared some big stuff for me. And speaking of inclusion, I have spent plenty of time excluding myself and others from the equation when it comes to um, being magical, talking to entities, being me. Really, there's been these barriers and separations and exclusion, and a lot of that just melted this time. For me, I was like, oh my gosh, like we truly are oneness. We truly are all in this together. Like, what can we change if we're willing to get present with stuff? And I would say this was a big muscle building exercise in terms of that presence and that oneness.
hmm Yeah, it was cool because even I had to sit there for a moment and be like, oh, like literally lower barriers and include everybody, including myself. And then I kept doing exercises like lowering barriers and whatever. And it was cool because everything would change. So it's so dynamic to literally see like once you start applying the tools and exercises that it literally changes that moment.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you can change everything by being interesting point of view and having presence with stuff.
hmm
Um, yeah, totally.
hmm Yeah, it was. I wish the weekend was still going.
Me too. I'm like, more please. Now what? What do I do now? I don't have any like, I'm like, what? I just go back and massage? Like, what now? What more? What's next? I'm like, a total hedonist. I just desire more and more and greater all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm like, cool. Like, I've got new tools to play with. And like, you and I were just talking a minute ago, like, it's like, what do I do with my life? Like, even my entity hours is like changing too. I'm like, hey, entities, give me some time. I'm going to change some stuff here.
Yeah, totally. I was like really just felt so present with entities, a lot of them that I hadn't. I look like this is my plant. It looks like I have an extra. This is one of my weird wings that flies out of my head. But I like right after class for a couple of days, I was like, man, I'm so present with a lot of the entities that I hadn't been willing to deal with or had been dealing with only while I was asleep, or for me, while I was on a lot of alcohol or drugs as a kid. So I was actually quite present with a lot of them. And then I noticed yesterday, sort of slipping back into that thing where I was like, I just want to go to sleep now. Everybody leave me alone. And so I'm really curious today, what would it take to choose? Like presence is actually a choice. You know, we can choose to avoid so dynamically, and many of us have in many, many lifetimes. And so it's a big choice to get present and deal with stuff. and not avoid it, particularly in the realm of magic and miracles, because we live in this reality that is so defined, and you kind of just wake up into this machine that's already, the gears are already turning. And when you make a choice to like, boom, I'm going to get present with all of it, all the other stuff that's unspoken, unsaid, the magic, the miracles, the mysteries, like it's a big choice. And sometimes it requires a lot of persistence. You have to just continue to choose into it. I saw that with you over class, just like the perseverance of like just showing up. And access consciousness classes have this strange thing with time where it can only be 2 days, but it's like trillions of years and all these different choice points, like where you can choose over and over, and you can pock and pod and change things. Like you said, like every 10 fucking seconds. Am I allowed to say the F word on your podcast?
Oh yeah, I say a lot of things. I'm
Okay,
like,
good.
fuck, fuckity fuck, yeah.
Fuck, fuck, fuckity fuck. Yay! Hallelujah.
I swear all the time. I say crazy things.
I used to be a school teacher. I taught high school students, and a lot of them were like druggies and dropouts. And so they had foul mouths. And I used to try to teach them. We had a thing called public voice and private voice. And we know what your private voice is, but at school it's a private place. So, and I would tell them like, I'm really a dirty old sailor. And if I cannot say the F-bomb at school all day, then you guys can do it too. But since we're not at school and we're on this podcast, we can fuckity fuck all we want.
Yes, we can say anything. And then, oh, well, one time I was so freaking mad because of border crossing. You know, when you drive across, and they just terrorized me and like treated me like I was a drug dealer. And I was like, and so I came home. I was just so mad. I made a podcast episode. It's completely, I kind of hid it because I was like, people, I might get in real trouble if people hear this. And I was just raging and swearing and like going off. I was like, it's probably a really good podcast episode though.
The Rage Cast. Oh my God. You guys, Canada has the craziest, like the first time I went, I was like, oh, it's Canada. Everybody's so nice. Or that's the point of view. You know, that's what everybody says about Canadians. And then I went through the border and I was like, these are not nice people. Like the Canadian Border Patrol. If you think Canada's nice, you better be braced for, I mean, pock and pod. You might get really nice people. My first time, this lady had a neck that was about this big and she was just like a bodybuilder. And she was like, do you even know what day it is? And I was like, I'm a humanoid. No, I have no clue what day it is. And I was about to go to jail. It was terrifying.
Well, yeah. And that's funny because they ask you ridiculous questions like, when was the
Like,
last
what day is it?
Well, that's like, and if I wouldn't know, I'd have to be like, let me check my phone.
Come on.
And with every question, I'm like, okay, I have to check my phone or Google this because I don't know. And it's like an atrocity. And even if you bring an apple up back across, you could go to jail because it's like illegal.
So insane.
Um,
So insane.
Back to what you're saying about being present and then like the magic, miracles, and mysteries and being present with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And like, this might be like very minimal, but like yesterday, because I play bingo. However, it's you almost have to be present because my friend and I were sitting, and you know how you're trying to be really diligent and focus and hit the numbers. Well, when it came to break, we were going over our numbers and we had looked at everything we had missed. We missed all these numbers, and I was like, oh, weird. Like, what is presence? Because, you know, for me, sometimes I can win hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And then when playing this particular game, you can win like 5,000 and 10,000. Now, in regards to being able to receive everything and be super present, how many miracles are we just kind of letting slip by? Or like, you know, we're asking for miracles to show up in our life, and then it's like we think we're being like, so I thought I was being super present and just like getting everything right, and I was like, oh wow, I missed a whole bunch of things. And
Yeah.
and that can include money. So what if I'm allowing the hundreds and thousands and even more money to just keep just passing by?
Wow. I love everything about what you just said. and it makes me think of like the wealth of consciousness. There's always more. Like there's always so much more. Like, so what would it take to perceive more of the miracles that are occurring all the time?
Wow.
Like that's a question maybe to play with. I'm going to play with that. Like, what would it take to perceive even more of the miracles? Like when we were there, Allison and I were walking around Stanley Park. Is that what it's called?
Mhm,
Stanley Park.
mhm.
So I noticed that sort of towards the edges of it. I didn't know we were out where there were more people, and then we went deeper into the forest. And as we went deeper and deeper, everything got more magical and weird, and the entities were more alive, and I could perceive them more. And I was like, oh, because there's less people projecting and defining and solidifying what it is. Out here there's less brain activity and less people-y, and they could be more weird. And so, I mean, it just makes me think, like with this conversation about more, like there's always more available. It's like a forest. Like if I were to even go into that forest now, I could dive in. There's like the dirt and the creatures in the dirt. There's always more shit going on in there. You just have to be curious and get away from people. Just kidding. Talking pod, people are great. But
Well, yeah,
what would it take to perceive the more that's available all the time?
that would be super cool. Cause like even when I was like, oh, I gotta be present last night. And then even just being conscious of that, it was actually really fun. And I was like, oh, it's almost like an energy as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so and it's so funny you'd mentioned like, oh, people, because where I'm at in this town, there's I don't know if they're like missionaries or religious people. They've got like a stand and it's for the Bible. And
That sounds like religious people. It's a dead giveaway. The Bible is dead. It's pretty clear.
yeah, there we go. So they're like out by my place in this village. And then I went to a park and I was like, oh, I'll go into nature because I days go by so fast. I was like, I gotta go for a walk. And they were there and they're actually downtown. They're kind of everywhere. And I'm like, oh, whoa. I'm like, and I just don't really talk to them. And I'm like, but yeah. And then apart from that, walking around that beautiful lake, it was, or pond or whatever it is, there were like, there was a white crow.
What?
Yeah. I took a couple photos of it.
I want to see a white crow.
Yeah. And the photos are kind of bad because it flew and it
Where?
went a bit far. Yeah. I'll send it to you. And I
Dude,
was, yeah.
that's so crazy.
It was just white and it was a crow and I was like and and it was someone who mentioned it was like, hey grandma, look, a white crow, otherwise I would have not even paid attention. And
Yeah.
anyways,
That's
there it was really cool. There were, yeah, like so many animals, like baby ducks and geese and turtles, all, and then like all the trees everywhere. It was so cool.
so
Yeah.
when I was flying in, I'm like that I love to fly. It's really fun for me, and I'm like a little kid, and I'm the one that's like with the window open, even though everybody wants it closed and they want to go to sleep and watch TV. I'm the one that has it open, the sun shining, and I'm looking out the window and I'm videoing, and I don't care. Everybody's annoyed and they make instas about people like me, and I do not care because I'm happy. But I was looking out, and I saw, this is not even a joke. I looked down and there is a lake that is shaped so clearly like a crow and a bat in a giant battle. It was so freaking strange. It was, and then when we got there, there were so many crows. Like there were so many birds, but billions and billions of crows everywhere. And it's really funny because Allison's team is called, I don't know if you know this or she's talked about it, but her team is, and most people have, like, they have gaggles and they have different names for their teams, and her team is a murder of crows. Of course. And so, of course, there's crows everywhere. And there was just, and now a white crow. Like, I don't know. We're creating with consciousness all the time. Like, the words you speak, the things you choose are just in an ever ongoing, evergreen creative state. That's so cool.
That is so funny. I am going to send you the photo now just before I forget because I'll
Yay.
forget. A murder of crows. Because when we were like hosting that class, someone put in like a photo that said, "Yeah, murder of crows," and I didn't get it because I didn't know that's what she calls her team. But that is the funniest thing. Allison's so funny. So if you're looking at the photo, the crow's on the top of the roof. And it's a
Where'd you
little
send it? What's up?
oh, WhatsApp, yeah. And
Um,
it's a little white crow. So crazy, so crazy.
wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That is just the weirdest, most amazing thing. And how does it get better? What more? See, we just asked what more we can perceive. And for me, I hadn't had that before. So that sometimes the questions that you ask of the universe actualize so quickly. And sometimes they take a little while. And sometimes there are these threads that just unravel more and more and more and more forever and ever. Amen.
Yeah, I think the key thing is to stop thinking, like get out of your brain, and then don't think you're getting it wrong if you're like asking a question, like you said, and it might take some time, or if you think that you're not getting it because you're asking for magic miracles and mystery to show up, and then yeah, it's really interesting almost to like it's like even just mindfully saying like okay and asking the question like you had said, so the question would be like what like magic and miracles can I perceive today? Is that maybe a question?
That's a great question.
And then ask that, and then I would even like almost like lower barriers, like, and then just be like, okay, what can I receive? And then
Yeah.
and then be like, okay, allow that to show up, and then have fun with your day and see what happens when you step outside your door or go for a walk, go into nature, or what else is
Totally.
possible? Like,
Totally. I wonder what's going to show up today. Like, how weird can today get? You
or
know?
like, I think they would say that like back in the day, I think they said like witches would be in their house and then they would, maybe ask a question and then something would just show up to their door. And then that was considered magic and people didn't like that. But, what could show up at our doors, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, literally and metaphorically, what can show up your door. Sometimes you ask a question and you have an expectation of how it's going to show up. And then if it doesn't show up that particular way, or maybe you have three or four ideas of how it can show up, and then if it doesn't show up that way, you discount and you go, well, this doesn't work because I asked for $1 million to show up on my doorstep, and instead I found a penny while I was walking down through the alley far away from my house, and so that wasn't. And so then you discount, but instead you got to go, holy fuck, it showed up. Something showed up. How does it get even better than this?
Yeah.
I had a penny. I had a lady in Vancouver. I'm still just so excited about this trip. The last day when I was waiting for the Uber, we were at the coffee shop by the condo or whatever that place was called. And we're in this coffee shop, and I was like, man, I want to get my daughter loonies. Is it to? I wanted to get her
Yep.
Canadian money because she's
Ladies,
moving. I have to get her a gift, but she's moving. She doesn't want anything, Mom. I don't want anything. I just want money, of course. So I have to get her money. And I'm like, oh, I'll just bring her Canadian money then, which the lady was like, that's dumb because it loses value. I'm like, I don't care. But anyway, so I'm asking this lady about it. And then, she's like, well, I don't have enough to sell you in here. But she was really nice. She started giving me all this information. And then she walks over and she goes, look, here's you guys have black money because the queen died. It's British Columbia. I learned so much that I didn't know. Like, the queen is very relevant there, like, and people in America obviously follow that, but I'm not. I'm like, but so she gives me the $2 black queen money and then a regular one. She just started giving me money. How cool is that? And it was like
really?
$4 Canadian, but she was so exciting to talk to and engage with because she was telling me about her son and all this stuff. But I was just really excited about this money that showed up. And then, so I've just acknowledged the joy of receiving that money. Like she just gave it to me because she was excited to tell me Canadian history. And like, hey, universe, that was a fun way for me to receive money. What would it take for more of that to show up? Thank you. Thank you. I like that. I'd like to have more of it. So you have to acknowledge when things do show up and then ask for more.
That's pretty cool. That's so
Even if
awesome.
it's like people will discount, even if it's like $20. I had something, this was a really good thing example for me. I had something show up where it was like a referral credit. And I told this friend, like, hey, I just joined this blah, 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 and you're going to get a $20 referral credit. And she was like, bleh, who cares? It's $20. And I was like, you just closed the doors to the universe. Like, never poo poo $20. Be
Hmm.
excited about $20, say thank you, and ask for more. But people go like, well, it wasn't enough, or, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know why I just went on that tangent. Sorry.
I think it's relevant because a lot of people they do that. And like even if people are gifted things of intrinsic value like gold, diamonds, travel things like traveling and having going along for hotels, like going to different places, but it's everything's a gift. Like
Yeah,
that is like intrinsic value.
totally.
Like if you're gifted like a 600 or $1,000 hotel, that's money.
Yeah, totally. And it's your enthusiasm too. It's like it's way more fun to live life in a state of gratitude and thrill and excitement and exuberance than it is to be like a tight ass, like, I didn't get no, I didn't. I mean, and I've done obviously that too. I mean, I think we all do from time to time, but this is a nice reminder to just have a state of gratitude. Like I was thinking on the flight, I went through a phase in my life where I never traveled until I discovered access consciousness, like a very American, very small life. And then I found access and I was like, what? I can make friends in other parts of the world, like cool
Yeah.
people and go places. And so I started traveling and then I got this like real like uppity thing of like it has to be first class. And if I got to what I thought was a certain level that I was supposed to like. And I actually lost a lot of my joy of travel because I was just like, if it's not first class, I don't want to do it. And so I have stopped traveling during pandemic and have started again just in the last couple months. And
Yeah.
I'm in the cheap seats. I've been in middle cheap seats in the back. And I am so happy again. I have the exuberance. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, first class would be lovely. And that can show up for me if I can continue to have gratitude. The second I go into judgment of this universe, this is not good enough, it's really judging me like that I didn't create good enough. And that's where you actually close the door to possibilities. So instead, I'm just like, fuck yeah, making friends with everybody. We had the best row on the flight home. I was a middle seat. The man next to me was stinky and farty. And I was just like, I love you. I played with all the talk to the entities tools, cleared a bunch of stuff. The stink went away. And
Oh,
I had
wow.
a great trip. And how does it get any better than
That is so funny. There's so much with what you just said there.
this?
It's like that is like you cleared the stink entities and you had a lot of fun. And that's the most important thing is to continuously have fun.
Totally.
And like you said, it's like if the other part, the other 180 of that is kind of like the no receiving, like being unhappy, not like being able to change anything, or just being like I don't know how to say it, but just being, I guess, yeah, the opposite.
Puckered. It's being puckered.
Yeah, exactly. Pucker.
Puckered
Yeah,
not in a good way, puckered.
yeah, yeah. It's like, what else can we receive and perceive today? That's a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah, and every day is really an adventure. I'm just remembering that. That every day is not set in stone. So it's like early in the morning for us right now, for whenever you guys are watching this, it's kind of early in the morning right now. And it's like,
Mhm.
day is not actually the solidity that you might think it is. Or like for me, my day was always a solidity until I started playing with the tools of access consciousness. And then I would wake up and be like, what do I do? Oh, I use the tools. I ask questions, universe. And then life starts to become a an adventure, a joyful unfolding of possibilities. And rather than this structure that you wake up to that you're just fighting, and either you know what I mean, you're just like stuck in it. You're not really stuck anymore. It's not solid. Everything's this malleable thing that you can actually play with and enjoy. So I do wonder about today. Like I have to hop off here pretty soon. I have to go massage one person, just one today, and she's great. I haven't seen her for a while, so I'm excited to see her. And then who knows? I have all this space. I'm like, oh my God, I have this thing I could play with. Maybe I'll go see the horses. I wonder what is today gonna be. It's gonna be a billion degrees. Maybe I'll go up to the mountains. I just don't know. We'll see. Universe, show me a great time.
It is going to be hot today. I'm like, maybe I'll go jump in the lake at some point. And
Ooh,
also,
fun.
I know Canada is like the devil, but like I love America and I love Americans. Like every time I go across the border, I'm like, oh my God, it's like a whole new world. And like people, I end up meeting like really fun people. So it's like with
Of
our
course
date,
you do, because of
yeah,
what you'd be.
yeah. So it's like with our days going forward, it's like, okay, how much fun can we have and keep asking questions. So,
Totally, totally,
but
totally.
thank you for hopping on.
Yeah, what a fun conversation. I thank you for being unscripted. When people are too structured, I'm like, I never know exactly what I'm gonna say. How am I supposed to follow the energy if we have a script? So thank you
Yeah.
for being you. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of this podcast is just to like get on the podcast and just chat and see what happens. All
Awesome.
right. Well, bye everybody. We will talk soon.
Bye guys. Thank you, Shauna.
Bye.